One thing I can say is describing what it feels like building machine learning and AI models in academics can be difficult and isolating sometimes. I think it feels a lot like being dropped into the wilderness alone. You imagine PhD students just trying to find whatever resources they can to survive and build the shelter that's going to be able to be fit for purpose and meet their needs. And many academics or researchers that are working by themselves, are able to fashion and bring together pretty incredible things, but they may not always be useful for lots of other people to use or be able to adapt or weather different storms. And one thing that I've really appreciated and learned about in building models with a team at a health tech company is it's much more like building a complex train station, where this is something that really cannot be done alone, but requires a team of people with great plans and architects and craftsmen, people from lots of different disciplines working together to create something that is functional and usable by many different people and can serve several different purposes. And so I'm delighted to share with you some of the ways that as part of a team alongside oncologists and software engineers and data scientists, we've been able to adapt and use many different types of artificial intelligence models for precision oncology and in generating the evidence necessary to inform that point of care decision making. This is a photo with some of the smartest engineers at Flatiron who are building AI models today. And as many of you know, we've become very comfortable with this autocomplete format of Googling things. What is ChatGPT used for? How's it used? We're comfortable with that in our emails. And really, this autocomplete is part of the foundation that led to the capabilities of the large language models that we see today. And with these deep neural networks that have evolved over the past several years and have been in progress for many more years than that, this is what allows us to be able to build on top of it tooling such as ChatGPT. And for those in the tech industry, there are ways that ChatGPT and other models can be publicly accessed, and also ways that they can privately and securely be accessed for analyzing and incorporating these types of models into patient care. And really, one of the things that convinced Bill Gates that this innovation really was going to be transformative to our society was when he watched GPT-4 complete an AP bio exam nearly perfectly, and led him to the statement that, he knew he had just seen one of the most important advances in technology since the graphical user interface. So I love this quote, and have worked with Bill previously at the Gates Foundation and with the Institute for Disease Modeling, and it's wonderful to see how technologists are beginning to cautiously be able to appreciate and figure out how we can be using these as a society together. And there is this hype cycle for artificial intelligence where, there's more and more talk about it and huge breakthroughs, some intelligent applications. And from my perspective, we are at this trough of disillusionment now, where we've seen some great examples of it, but we're also very skeptical. We've seen hallucinations and other risks that need to be mitigated. I predict we're about to be on this slope of enlightenment with the development of more and more products that are safe and used to improve our healthcare system and innovation of new medicines. And this comes through building better models, scaling the learnings that we're having, and then being able to enhance the products and the tools that are in development. So the areas that I want to focus our time on together today is first on how I'm observing that AI tools are now accelerating care team efficiency in oncology. Then to pull back the curtain for you and let you see how AI and machine learning is enabling researchers to more efficiently extract information from electronic medical records to access the clinical depth necessary to learn from populations. And then lastly, give you some examples of how I've seen this applied to generate evidence with greater speed and timeliness for relevance, also at a high quality and scale in terms of numbers of patients that we can learn from to generate government decision makers as all the way to prescribing patterns at the point of care. So first, let's dive into how I've seen opportunities for accelerating care team efficiency. We know there are lots of decision points and areas of uncertainty and sometimes what feels like inefficiency throughout a patient's care journey. So from the initial patient visit, walking in the door, all the way through understanding what tests should be ordered, how do we understand the results that are coming back from complex genomic testing reports or applying that information to select treatments. And then whether patients go down the track of receiving standard of care treatment or through clinical trials, there are many different opportunities or places where we are beginning to see artificial intelligence be able to interact with decision making across this patient journey. And one example that I can bring you from a model that my team built at Flatiron was a risk prediction model that's been incorporated at the point of care and into workflows and scaled across the country. And it was first driven really by clinic coordinators speaking up about a frustration and a challenge that they had in identifying patients who could most likely benefit from a wraparound at-home care supplemental services that were available after treatments began, and also being able to identify which patients might benefit the most from this at-home care. And through building this machine learning model and retrospectively and prospectively validating this model, we put together and shared publicly a framework that others can use and learn from to help evaluation. And this really is because the performance of models in the field, once we're using them day to day, is at risk of declining over time. For many different reasons. It can be trained on one population using, some historical events, but the demographics of the patients that come into clinics may change over time, or the standard of care, the way patients are being treated may be changing over time, and all of that can affect the performance of models that are incorporated into workflows in EHR. And one of my favorite sections of this new AI and precision oncology journal is called Prompt Assistance. And this is where in this premier issue, there's a fascinating article by Drs. Flora and Thacker where they give examples of ways that oncologists are now using tools like ChatGPT with specific prompts to be able to more efficiently generate letters that they need, or being able to more effectively revise their notes and help with readability. So I would encourage all of you to stay tuned to this specific section in the journal, because I think there are going to be a lot of hot tips coming soon for how to use publicly available tools like ChatGPT to improve your workflow. And while ChatGPT may not yet be embedded into many different EHRs at the point of care, there are other ways that groups have been able to connect the dots and be able to start using AI tools. One of them is AI-enabled visit documentation now. So Flatiron already has begun piloting the opportunity to incorporate into the background AI that's able to assist oncologists in drafting notes while they are visiting with patients and discussing treatment plans. And this is enabled through ambient audio capture with transcription of that audio to text, then using an AI scribe to help with a summary of the encounter and suggesting coding to create a draft that's an editable note for oncologists to be able to click and change, make revisions, and all of these things really have the intention of improving the experience and care of physicians with their patients, increasing the amount of time that they can have eye contact together instead of eyes focused at a computer screen. And it will be very exciting to see learnings that we get from initial pilots of these types of toolings. It really is important too that humans continue to be in the loop at every step of this. So as I mentioned before, when we have these tools create drafts that are then clickable, modifiable, edited and approved by humans, it can then reduce the chance of there being risks from inaccuracies in the note taking. And tools like this, as what I hope that you can expect over time as more AI and precision oncology tools become available to improve care and efficiency, it's not going to be like slowly building an F1 race car from the very beginning. If I were to give you the wheel of a race car, there's not that much you can do with it. And if we spent all of our time trying to design and build the perfect product today, we may end up with a car at the end that really doesn't actually function the way that we want. The learnings and development and incorporation of AI into precision oncology should look much more like first having a simple skateboard to begin with, something that is minimal and functional and it rolls and can get you to that next place, where we can then learn from the experience with that movement, with that action, with it meeting needs, and be able to build on it with iterations like a scooter, then a bicycle, then a motorcycle, then we can get to a car. So I think that this is a very healthy way for technology to adapt and for us to make incremental improvements on these innovations. So all of this will only be possible with learning from you, learning from the oncologists at the point of care, trying to use these tools, learning from academics, continuing to do the research, learning from regulators about how we can continue to do this in the most responsible way. And one of the things I really liked about Sarah's talk that she gave previous to mine was this quote where she says, precision oncology is the delivery of personalized, tailored cancer treatments that's based on a single individual, but it's learned from many. So while what I described is tooling that can improve the efficiency of care for one individual at a time, there's still so much opportunity for us to use AI to enable us to learn from many patients all at once. So this is where I'd like to pull back the curtain and show you a little bit more about what's being done behind the scenes with EHR to be able to create insights and that can inform treatment decisions. So curating this type of real-world data is messy and complex. It involves linking together structured data like every drug order and results from labs, vitals, with unstructured documents. So things like the paragraphs of clinician notes or a 50-page PDF scanned fax of a genomic testing result. These were documents that were, until very recently, very, very difficult for us to find information in from any other way than having a clinical expert open up a chart and identify that information and document it in a systematic way. And this is an example of how critical data elements that we need for understanding which treatment works best in patients, that information is often trapped within these paragraphs of unstructured data. And for more than a decade, Flatiron has been a leader in the standardized expert chart review necessary to follow policies and procedures and generate high quality data sets using abstraction forms and generating regulatory grade real world evidence. And now that large language models and other types of complex machine learning models are available, Flatiron and our engineers have spent the last several years developing deep learning models that are able to read patient charts and understand them in a similar way to how clinical experts are able to open and understand these charts. So inputs to the model can be documents, genomic testing reports, clinic notes, where the models are then able to read them, identify the critical information, and extract out the disease status, the dates that are necessary. And so here I'm showing you a series of deep learning model examples that my team has recently published on, showing how we're now able to apply deep learning models that have been trained specifically for pulling out patients' diagnosis dates, disease stage, biomarker status, critical information that's often used to inform treatment decision making and also be able to understand the effectiveness of different options. And this ML extracted data really does look and can be used in the same way that data sets that have been curated through manual chart review can look. So the reason that this is so exciting is because what may have taken 6 months to be able to learn now can happen in a number of days. And so these questions, these dilemmas that happen at the point of care, they really need to be able to have actionable real-time evidence to be able to inform decision-making that's based on this data I just showed you can be learned from many different patients. So I'm going to show you 2 quick examples on generating evidence with speed, quality, and scale that's now possible. In this example, our team was learning from the experience of 70,000 patients with lung cancer. And we had just spent more than many, many months opening up every single chart to be able to identify within genomic testing reports whether or not each patient was positive or negative for the KRAS mutation. And shortly after we finished this task, this monumental task, we learned from the FDA that there was a specific mutation, G12C, which was of new significance in that the treatments that were available may have a different effect for those lung cancer patients with this specific mutation. So that left us in this dilemma of trying to understand the safety and effectiveness of a treatment for this subgroup of patients, but being blind to what the mutation status was. If only we had known 6 months ago that we wanted to pull out this information, we could have done it while we were opening up these charts one by one. And by applying a deep learning model to be able to go through all the biomarker positive patients, we were able to, among the 13,000 who were positive for KRAS, be able to, within a day, identify more than 4,000 patients who did have this G12C mutation, which avoided us having to spend thousands of hours of manually opening up these charts to find this information, and in real time be able to assess the safety and effectiveness of medicines within this subgroup of mutations. Another example is in the rare disease space. So here, there's a rare disease called Castleman disease. And within Flatiron's network of more than 4 million people with cancer who are treated at oncology care sites, we knew that many Castleman patients were being treated, but there was not diagnosis codes or a standardized way ever before to be able to find these patients, learn how they're being treated, identify treatments that may be life-saving for them. And this is a study that was just presented at the American Society of Hematology meeting last weekend, where Dr. Cohen was able to share the exciting breakthrough of being able to identify the largest cohort ever of Castleman's patients through using AI models to be able to find patients with this rare disease within the millions of patients within a network of oncology care sites. So an incredible example of how AI is now empowering and accelerating research to be able to learn more about patients with rare diseases. So in summary, before coming to this summit, I was able to ask the engineers on my team, what do you want people to know? So that in the future, we can be successful working together and creating more of these innovative breakthroughs. And one engineer, George in front, told me that he wants people to teach him empathy for their jobs. And I was really encouraged by this because I think that with the growing number of computer science programs that we see everywhere, and the number of software engineers and data scientists that are available, we have some of the smartest people in the world working on these problems. And it was really encouraging for me to hear that they want to know what are the challenges that you're facing, so that they can design tools that are fit for purpose, built for purpose, to be able to solve important problems in healthcare and specifically in oncology. So I've told you we are now learning from the experience of every person with cancer. And it can be really, really difficult to learn when there's so many people within our network, more than 4 million patients' experiences that we can learn from. And there's a lot of depth to every single person's unique story. And care is changing so quickly with new drugs coming to market that it's hard to keep up and have research still be relevant when things become outdated so quickly. And AI really has the potential now to address many of these challenges. These algorithms are easy for us to scale. They scale much more efficiently than humans have in the past. It also allows us to read and learn from experiences with clinical depth into documents that were difficult to access before. And also, AI is really enabling us to dynamically, rapidly update the evidence that we're generating. So as new and better treatments come to market, we can quickly be able to understand the comparative effectiveness and safety of these products. So it's a very exciting moment in history for all of us to be working together on this. So to wrap things up, I hope that you are encouraged by all the progress, encouraged by the opportunities now and the speed with which we're able to see AI entering now and being able to assist at the point of care, improving efficiency of teams, and also on the research side of it, with AI now being able to learn from the real life experiences of people living with cancer, so that we can help extend lives and generate new meaningful evidence.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe to our channel, Intuitive Search. Thank you for watching.